From city issues to presidential politics, we talk Turkey with two women in the know. The Point starts right now. First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright is my first guest on the one-year anniversary of the Adams administration's blueprint for child care. And I guess the first question I have for you is, how successful has it been in terms of creating daycare slots for people in New York City?
I would say that it's been extremely successful, and there's more to come. When we came into the administration, we knew that access to really high-quality, affordable care was going to be really important just to get people back to work. I think over half of New Yorkers indicated that not having access to high-quality child care either kept them out of a job or just really was a challenge. So since we've come into office, we've done a number of things. One of the things is that we have, created a whole blueprint. We were able to catalyze $2 billion from the state to invest in creating more child care vouchers and child care slots in the city. We've offered a tax credit where businesses can now open up new child care centers and they get a credit on their taxes to create more spaces. We had 35,000 families that were waiting on a backlog to get child care vouchers. We've served every single one of those families, and we launched a platform just to make it much easier to apply for child care, and 17,000 families have already signed up for that platform.
So my question is this: are there still child care deserts where people just can't have a child care option near enough to where they live to take advantage of it?
Absolutely. We've identified 17 councilmatic districts where there are child care deserts. There are not enough child care.
17?
17.
Wow.
So that's where we're really directing the tax credits. That's where we're really directing all of the efforts to expand access to care, as well as in other places, but prioritizing those communities.
Well, I know the statistics are sort of daunting when during the pandemic, 375,000 people decided to either not go to work or to downgrade what they were doing so they could work at home because of child care issues.
Yes.
Have you made a dent in that at all? And how has that affected the city's economy?
Absolutely. One of the things that we've done is make child care more affordable through our own regulations. Traditionally, the cost of care, if you have a subsidy, was about $1,300 a year. So when you're on a fixed income, that can be a lot. We were able to change that with those additional resources that we were able to get. It's about $150 a year. So that opens it up, and we've made it more accessible to people at different income levels. So that hits a lot more people than it has in the past.
You know, I know the mayor talks a lot about getting people to come back to work. I mean, it's important for the subways. It's important for the downtown business district where you have, empty buildings. I wonder if you've made a dent in getting people to convince people that they could go back to work because there's affordable health care. Yeah,
and so one of the things that we're trying to do is all of those empty buildings, those empty spaces, convert them to child care spaces. So we're incentivizing owners who own those buildings to convert those places for childcare. So they have a tax credit, and we've had lots of people apply for the credit, and they're going through the process. And it really makes sense for employers to create good quality childcare on site, ideally for your employees, as also a way to get people back to work.
So how successful have you been in convincing a lot of these people who own these big buildings that it makes sense for them to have a childcare center where people could bring their kids while they work?
Well, there have been several, many businesses that actually applied for the tax credit, and we're working with them through the various offices at the city to actually create those spaces as we speak. So it's really been something that's been quite popular, and we're excited about it.
So once these spaces come online, you expect that more, I guess as mothers, but also fathers as well, you expect them to come back to work and they won't be working remotely?
Well, I mean, it gives them an option, right, where you can actually come into the office, make sure that your child has really good care, that they're getting everything that they need, and they're right there. So that's one of the goals of the child care blueprint.
One of the things that I'm sort of curious about is what the administration is doing in terms of child care for migrants. The reason I'm asking the question is, like, if you take the subway now, you see lots of women mostly with a child strapped on their back,
right,
selling churros or fruit or candy bars. You also see it on the West Side Highway at various places where the cars stop. Is there anything that the administration is doing to provide child care so these women who are trying to find some place to work to earn money before the federal government says it's okay don't have to have their kids strapped on their back in sheets? I mean, it's sort of scary to see the kids in these situations.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that we're very proud of, because most of the programs and subsidies really kind of shut out undocumented people. We launched last year an effort focused on families that are not documented, and it was overwhelming success. Hundreds and hundreds of families and children are now in really safe care and out of that situation. And we're doing it again this year, and that was a real big priority for us to make sure that was included in this year's budget.
Well, I know it must be difficult for you when you go around the city and you see these women who are desperate to find work. I wonder, you know, is anything being done with the federal government to try to get them to approve work permits so that they don't have to walk around with their kids strapped on their back, they can get a real job? That
has been the constant request from our administration. As you know, Marsha, we've got 85,000 people that have come through the city. We still have about 53,000 in our care every day. And obviously, we're making sure that families with children in particular are housed and fed and clothed. Again and again and again, they say, we want to work. That's what we are here for. That's what we've come to this country to do. And the president, the White House, with the stroke of a pen, could enable those families to work. So we're advocating with our delegation. We want everyday New Yorker citizens to really advocate to make sure that these people have the opportunity to have the dignity to work, because that's what they came here to do.
It must be incredibly frustrating for you to not get that okay from Washington.
It's not only frustrating, it's really difficult, and it's a strain for all New Yorkers. Right now, we're projecting the expenses overall to be well over $4 billion of resources to care for people who just want to work. And it's really, you know, if they can work, that solves a lot of the problem.
Well, I also think that if you had that $4 billion back, there are other things and other priorities that you might be able to spend the money on, like expanding 3K, like expanding pre-K and things like that in the education system.
Absolutely. I mean, for Summer Rising, for instance, was extremely popular this year, and it's something the administration worked really hard on. We could double the size of it and really to meet the need, but without the resources, we can't do it. So there's a lot of things that we would love to do more of, and new things, but we have to live within our means.
So what's next? I mean, are you looking for more money to create more childcare slots, more other programs to deal with younger people?
Absolutely. So we're going to be continuing to grow the number of slots for childcare. We're going to be focused on those deserts that we talked about and making sure that there are enough seats there to meet the need. And the other thing is we're going to really make sure that it's high quality, that, you know, these really good spaces where children are learning and thriving, and that's going to be another big focus of the work.
We only have about 30 seconds left, but I'm curious about the need to find people to teach these classes that are Spanish-speaking or non-English speaking.
It's a big challenge. We need certainly much more bilingual educators, and we're really trying to think outside the box on how to meet that need, and really engaging some of our new entrants and helping them get the training and development. If they could work, they could certainly fill that need.
So we're going to have to leave it right there for now, but our conversation continues right after the show on our streaming channel, CBS News New York.